We had a small technical issue, so you will notice about 90 seconds of weird audio in the middle of the podcast. Sorry for that.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the Misfit podcast. Here today with several special guests. Myself and Drew, as always. Just take a look for a second. We have Cody Mooney, Mekenzie Riley, and last but not least, Chyna Cho in the studio today. How we got all three in one room at one time, it seems impossible, but we've done it. Welcome. Welcome to Portland. Welcome to Portland. Welcome back to Portland, Cody. I haven't seen you since the games, I think.
Okay, I saw you last weekend.
Oh, yeah,
it's nice to be back. It's nice to be back.
When you leave me, it just feels like forever, though.
I know.
So, anyway.
Getting personal right off the bat.
Wow.
I like it.
Feels already.
Yep.
I think the big story has nothing to do with training, but how the weather is impacting China so far. Yeah.
Okay,
right.
I'm the only one
Speaking
in a winter
Speaking to the microphone, I know you're in all caps.
You're still not speaking in the microphone. You're looking at me.
This doesn't count.
I'm freezing. I've never been in single digit weather, like
Ever?
below 10. No, not outside. And I did last night and almost died.
We should make you, well, we'll talk about the fourth donut later, but we
Bro,
should add a whole new twist to this.
If y'all didn't know when I eat my 6 donuts tomorrow.
All right.
Whatever.
Roll in the snow.
A roll in the
Like
snow.
that?
Kenzie, take your microphone and
It was not.
Get in on this.
I was just peanut gallery. This is not.
look at me. Look at me.
Guys, this is the mic.
We're going to do a live lesson.
Yeah,
Why
not
is
that.
it not on top? That looks like a mic.
Hey,
I'm
doing it right.
We thought they're professionals, but we're going to give a live lesson on how to speak into a microphone on the Misfit podcast. So you're going to bring this right in front of your face. You can turn, but you have to. This has to stay with you. This stays with you. It moves.
There.
Is this better?
Boom.
Oh, the first. I was.
Yes.
Look at these those videos of Drake, and he's like in it, and he's got the.
Turn up my mic, yo.
Yep,
I
exactly.
can't hear my headphones. You with me? You with me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How's the weather in Maine treating you?
I'm just
You don't care.
reminded why I moved out of the Midwest because this is as cold as it used to get.
Really?
And yeah, we'd see negatives in Illinois.
Oh, that's true.
I mean, it's like,
The wind
30s
in
or
the
40s
Midwest
in Charlotte, but
crazy. Shit whips across that.
I'm just reminded this is why I moved. So
This is literally
okay with
why
it
you
for a
moved?
couple days.
You just didn't want to be cold. That's the whole reason.
it's a large part of it.
I actually think when we talked early on about when we first started like communicating, first time ever, you had talked
Back in the
about
days.
moving back in the day to where you were moving to, and you said the weather was a big part of it.
Yeah, and mostly, I mean, that's more my husband than me. He complained about winter, and I was like, no more. If we're moving warmer, and he hates winter. So.
Roy never wants to wear a shirt. That's why he just wants to be shirtless.
He shouldn't.
All the time. Oh
He's
wow!
so hot.
All the time, he just wants to be shirtless.
I mean, it
and
works
eat
for him.
obscene
So
amounts of food.
anyway, so we, that's part of the reason we moved, and because YOLO.
I like that.
Yep, that's a better reason.
But sorry, we didn't pick Maine, and it will never be Maine. But I like coming here for a short period
I
of time.
appreciate that people don't want to move up here. I don't want to leave, but I appreciate why people can't
You
wrap
guys
their
say
head
that.
around living up here. You've been here in the summertime.
It's nice in the summer for sure.
It's not just nice. It's amazing in the summertime. And this is somebody who has been here 31, almost 32 years, who should be bored with it by now, but is not.
Yeah, but it's like a thing that Mainers have to love Maine. Like no one. It's
I
like
have tons
it's
of
like
friends that
you're
moved away.
raised to like love this place. Yeah.
I have so many friends that have moved away from Maine.
Yeah,
but
well, we
I,
also
a lot
have
of
friends that
people hate
tattoo it on their
Maine. Yeah.
bodies.
That's because you
true.
moved, though.
yeah, Ted moved away from Maine, and then he moved back.
Okay, well, whatever. It's good. Okay, I like it here. What else?
There are a lot of things that I think that I don't like about Maine, and then when we travel and we have to deal with things
Right.
that aren't Maine-like, that's when it's like, that's when I appreciate Maine more. Not when I'm here, when I go other places.
I seriously didn't even know where Maine was until I came here last year.
Most people don't. That's
I have
common.
to tell
Like,
people
where
I'm
is
from
it?
north of Boston is what I tell people.
I don't even know where that was.
That's the easiest thing to say
Yeah.
when you explain to people where Maine
That
is.
still doesn't make sense to me. We're just like up.
You either
in the
say
middle
you're
of
from
nowhere.
Canada or Boston.
It's-
And then if
it's
people
true.
really don't know what's going on, you say New York.
Multiple people think Maine is in Canada that I've spoken to in my life. Oh, yeah, you live in Canada. No, I live in Maine. It's one of the states in your fucking country. Like, get an education. I live in Maine.
It's also a pretty big state. That's what's funny. People are like,
It's
oh,
huge.
it's tiny, right? I'm like, well, the rest of New England fits in it.
Right.
But
It's huge.
okay.
Cody, this is like right up your alley here. You have moved from Maine.
Yeah.
Where are you?
In Boston. Boston's pretty
Why?
sweet. I don't really know. I mean, we kind of moved down just to experience something different. I've lived in
YOLO.
quite a few places, and I like Boston. I like that it's close to Maine. Is it forever?
Where else have you lived?
So I lived in Nice for a little
the
while.
hell's that?
Oh, yeah, I forgot
France.
about that.
France, southern France.
Europe.
Loved it there. I've lived with Alec and the Smiths down in Virginia for a little bit. So, I mean, I've been to some places and whatnot, and it's fun. Boston's cool, though. It's a little city, but it's close enough to home where I can kind of travel up here in a day and see you guys and everything like that. The weather's the same, though. Boston's
Yeah,
just a
sure
little more
is.
windy. When you get down to that city, those big buildings just make wind
People are
tunnels.
so grumpy down there in the winter.
Oh, yeah. And
It's
just
crazy.
yeah, you were talking about
The driving.
Dude, it's insane.
There's this construction worker literally wanted to kill me, and I thought he might try.
He might.
Like I'm at the light, and the sharp left is Route 1 North, and it's full. Like the whole bridge, everything, the ramp is full. But then another left is 93 South. 93 South was empty. So he's behind me. It's just two roads, essentially. It's just you have like an on-ramp in this direction and this direction. And I couldn't go. And he was behind me. And
just laying on the horn.
I thought he was like screaming, throwing his hands up in the air.
Flash a piece.
So I rolled my window down and I just said, "Hey man, I gotta go this way." It's like I thought I'd calm him down. That made it way worse.
yeah.
And he just essentially like full on like Paul Walker style, rest in peace, jams on the gas and starts fishtailing and gets out from behind me and then almost hits, I don't know, 10 people and every sign and barricade on his way down
That's
93.
every day of my life. Like,
No one lets you in any.
no, and they hit you. Like, I was in the car with Lauren the other day. Someone literally pulled out, bumped her, and like wasn't even like get out of the car. Like it's just Boston. It's crazy.
And then you
That's
pass
illegal.
people and you like smile and they're like, "No, it's freezing. Fuck you." I'm
Yeah.
like, okay, all right, my bad.
Is
no
that
more
just
of that.
cities?
Yeah, a little bit.
Like
City's
in Miami? Like people are at stoplights and they're people behind them are like
with
honking.
walking signs.
Where do you want them to go? It's a red fucking light. I don't know. Like is that just is that I don't know. I don't know
Just
if that,
aggressive.
I don't think I see
It's
that
a
in my
super
city.
aggressive lifestyle, especially when it comes to driving, and you gotta just be okay with it.
No.
The worst is when there's a 2 lanes and there's parking on the side, but there's no parking for someone to do, so they just pull up in a lane, put their hazards on, and they get out of their car. So when you pull up behind someone, you think you're good, just in a lane going. There's no one in that car. So you got to try to merge into the left lane.
Where did they go?
They go like into the store? Like the other day,
their car
there was no
already?
parking in front of Whole Foods, so they put their hazards on, get out of their car, left it in that lane, and they run in and they run back out.
Isn't
They
that
think
how
it's
cars get
fine.
stolen?
They
They
think
got
if
a
it's
perfect
like
bar.
less than
Yeah,
Wait,
they-
were you with us in Kentucky when we passed the Domino's car?
Yes.
We were in Kentucky and a car. This is not like
Is this
Boston
when we,
style.
Is this, when we
was
led
like-
people, this is when we led people astray.
Yeah, that
This
was
was
fun.
in the middle of nowhere.
This Domino's delivery vehicle pulled up to the building
Yeah.
and in 2 lanes of traffic just got out, left their car running in the middle of the road. No one else was on the road.
Right
It was
in the middle.
nighttime.
Put his
Just-
hazards on.
Yeah, right in the middle of the road. Just
Perfect.
sat there, just went and delivered the
Yep.
pizza, came back. It's like,
That was fun.
If that was my pizza, I'd appreciate the fact that he was doing that.
Yeah, but if you're
If it was
behind the
anyone
guy,
else,
you're
I'd be
like,
pissed.
it was
"Yo,
weird.
it's
We were like,
crazy."
oh, this person must be broken down. No, they're just delivering
There's
pizza.
no one in there. Yeah.
Totally could have pulled into the business, could have pulled out the side
Story
of the
of
road.
my
Go
life.
green, ride bikes.
Yeah, deliver
I-
pizza. on
Not with
bikes.
my
Yeah,
pizza.
ride bikes when it's 6 degrees outside. No.
Right now.
No.
You're just so angry.
It's
about the
warm in
ride.
here.
I am. I ice skated to Ted's car last night. Legitimately ice skated.
I almost fall on my ass once or twice a week
You gotta
getting
learn to
out of my
shuffle your
vehicle.
feet. You gotta learn.
Well, it's the getting out of the vehicle
Oh, yeah.
because when you have you're not in a car, you're in a truck or an SUV, so it's a long way down. You just kind of pop out of the seat, your feet hit, and whoop, they go in every direction, and you're like, oh my god, that was almost the end of my life.
Yep.
And this might be a fantastic segue. The other night when we were at the grocery store, I had to run out because I forgot my wallet, and I was like
That's
running out in the.
Nice job.
I was running out in the parking lot, and as I was running, I was like, Kenzie, be careful. If you slip and crack your knee, your season is over. Like,
True.
Be careful. Like, this could be really bad. So
This-
then I started walking.
There's at least one person a year that dies
But-
in our state from falling on the ice and hitting their head. No joke. Every year you hear about it in the news. Someone dies from slipping on the ice and hitting
It's
their
like
head.
getting out of a car. You could go down.
No, there was a young guy like our age this year that died walking to his car.
Is he drunk?
No, he just fell on the ice and smashed his head.
Smash your head hard
Yeah.
enough.
Makes me nervous.
New segue.
Yeah.
Do you really think that girl, that 12-year-old, dropped her backpack and shot all those people? Did you see
What are
that?
you talking about?
I don't watch the news. Please help.
Yeah, I don't.
So there was
Cliff
a
Notes.
school.
We were
There was
watching
a
Shark
school
Tank.
shooting
There's been 3 in the past week.
in an
Which
elementary school, I believe, somewhere near Los Angeles.
one? Okay.
A little girl said she put the gun in her bag and she did not know it was loaded, and she set it down, and it shot a kid in the head. None of these people died. She shot a kid in the head and shot 2 other people.
Yeah.
And the authorities have cleared her completely, saying that it was an accident. She set a gun down in a backpack and it started randomly shooting people.
No, unfortunately,
There must be a video if you're in a school.
That
There's no
story
video.
is easily, it has to be misreported. As somebody who professionally used guns for many years, that's not how firearms
Like a pencil
work.
went through it, and the pencil got a crazy idea and started
If she set it down, like if there's
You have
stuff
to
in the
pull a
bag
trigger.
and she dropped the bag and something got in the trigger guard and pulled it, yeah, that could go off. But it's not
One time?
automatic, correct?
Yeah, it's a semi-automatic gun.
It's one
Right.
time, right? It couldn't keep going, and you can't just set it down and 5 minutes later a bullet goes off. It doesn't work like that either. So
Guns don't kill people. People kill people. I've heard that.
Obviously the media is gonna like try to get a story and a headline out of it, but I actually read the story and I'm like, this makes no sense. Either it's a really bad job of explaining what happened, or that's not possible.
I mean, the authorities out there aren't stupid. So if they've cleared her, they've figured it out. But whatever's coming out in the media, whatever you just explained, is not what really happened.
What was your
NBC
source?
NBC. You know how you swipe? Well, I can't swipe on my flip phone, but on my iPad,
But
on my
Is that your
on my
own-
iPad, I can swipe, and the news thing pops up.
he can swipe his iPad, but he can't text on it, apparently.
Wow.
This
I think we might as well just transition right into this next topic since
So
we're
we're
here.
gonna skip over the Tide Pod challenge because that's
What
the only
is
news.
that?
That's the only news I know about.
I hate this news story.
Okay.
I don't even know what it is.
so essentially, kids are just eating Tide Pods. That's it.
Oh,
it-
eating them? You never said that.
Bros like Cody are challenging each other.
All
to
right,
eat
Yeah.
Tide.
don't ever say that again. I'm not a Brad or a Chad. Don't ever do that to
You're
me
a
again.
Code.
No.
Come
Do
on,
not.
Brad, Chad,
All right.
Code. Those are the
No.
3. Everyone
That's
Okay.
the
says
only.
that.
That's the
I
only
would-
news story
I would
that
never.
that I know about lately,
That's-
and it's because people keep making jokes about it, and I was like, "Why is this funny?" And I googled Tide Pods, and anyways, we can not talk about that. But
Just so you know, I would never.
that's the
accuse you
challenge
of
we
being
should
a
do.
Brad or a Chad.
Okay, thank
Just
you.
So
I
know.
appreciate
Gronk
that.
doesn't
I
want
respect
people
that.
eating Tide Pods. I
forget
watched the commercial.
donuts, Tide Pods.
Yo, Gronk's cleared. He's okay.
Don't make me
Oh,
bring
it might be okay. You know, they're a decoy out there.
Yeah.
What about is this spread gonna leave 4.5 points or what? Come on, I need it to because 4.5 is
sports
too
and
much.
stuff and sports and sports and sports.
It's right. It's correct.
I don't
It's
like
right
it.
on.
I don't want it.
It's right on.
I want a
It's always
3-point
it's,
spread.
It's based on the Patriots' past winning and losing Super Bowls. It's not even based on the matchup now. It's not going to move. I don't
Sports.
think.
Nick Foles, baby, give me that money.
I can't participate in this conversation.
Eagles, go.
Cody, go.
Cody can.
Cody, go.
Go, Eagles.
Who's gonna? Super Bowl prediction? Score. Go.
Ooh.
The people will have already watched the Super Bowl at this
Cody
point. so-
loves Tom Brady and the Patriots. He's even cool with the fact that Tom Brady makes out with his son. I don't know if we want to talk about
What?
that or not,
Oh,
but
God.
Tom Brady makes out with his son. Just
You
saying.
haven't even seen Tom versus Time.
No, but have you seen Tom
You're
Brady
just-
make out with his son?
You're
'Cause
just
he
going
did.
off shit. Okay.
I mean, it's real. It's on
I'm going to
Instagram.
It's on
say
Instagram.
21-10 Pats.
10.
10?
Oh, no.
All right.
What do I do think the Pats are going to win because
Okay.
Tom Brady's not human.
I can agree with that. Makes out with. Never mind.
Yeah. What's the real secret? Was it the kale smoothies?
I don't know
The
anything about
rubdowns.
him except that he's old. But
So what's the
So
score?
what's the
gonna be?
score?
28-21.
Kenzie, do you even know the teams that are playing?
There will be field
Sports.
goals.
Sports.
Yeah, I know the teams that are playing.
609 to.
But I don't understand, and I'm married to like gambling betting professional, and I don't understand like point spreads.
I mean,
in
he's
any
terrible
of
at
this.
DraftKings. I know that. I don't know about professional.
That was a
Keep
rough
going.
week. Okay, guys,
Just
Your
say
guess
numbers.
is probably
3-0.
I
Oh
love
my
it.
God.
Who wins? Who wins?
Can't say secret.
She knows, but
Well,
she's not
based
gonna.
on the spread, the Eagles win. So
That's true.
Really?
both times. Yeah, because they get points
Yeah.
for free.
We don't care about who wins.
No,
well,
no. Yeah, I don't really.
I
What's
definitely
awesome
do.
about when I bet on the Patriots is I don't care because if they lose, I get to laugh at people, and if they win, I make money.
I feel like
It's
if
kind of a
I'm
win-win for
here,
me.
I should be cheering for the home team, but also like
Nah.
they win too much.
Who's your
Sorry,
team,
Cody,
Seth?
but
Oh,
the
Raiders.
underdog
God.
gets my vote.
Me and Freddie. We like the Raiders. What can I say?
Yeah, that's true.
Nice.
Fire
Do you, guys,
Tomlin.
do you guys want to talk about maybe a little bit about CrossFit and what you guys have been up to?
Nah.
How many listeners do we have left?
-4.
This actually might be the most interesting podcast we've ever shot because I don't know. I'm entertained at
Fucking
least. I don't even really
anything
care. I don't
and
even care.
everything.
I'm entertained. So
No agenda. Wherever the combo takes us.
I mean, what are we gonna talk about CrossFit? What do you want to hear?
So all right, let's start with you.
Opens
So
coming up.
you're in a new location,
Yeah,
right? You're
yeah.
in Boston.
I'm in
Are
Boston.
you going to be in Boston throughout the Open?
Yes.
Is that your location
yeah, I'll be.
for the whole Open?
Yeah, I'll be at Fenway throughout the Open.
CrossFit Fenway will be your gym.
Yep.
For the
throughout
Open.
the Open. Yep, for sure.
And you'll be in the Northeast region.
Yeah, I'll be in the Northeast region.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how's your shoulder doing?
My shoulder's doing really well. It's been slow.
Yeah, for people who are unaware, what's the deal with your shoulder?
I had a labrum tear,
Yep.
and then I had surgery after the games, like mid to late September, and then I've just been kind of rehabbing it since then. And I mean, I think it's been slow, but every doctor tells me like the stuff I can do with my shoulder is pretty crazy from having surgery, so it's going well. I've been incorporating a lot more movements because I have to be able to test them,
Right.
and it's holding up. It's just a lot of so I had a lot of mobility. I've always been blessed with good mobility in my shoulders, but I didn't have a lot of stability and like learning to kind of engage all the small muscles. So it's been teaching me a lot of that and a lot of like warming up my shoulder, cooling down my shoulder, doing a lot of, I spend at least an hour a day, honestly, on accessory now. And it's not just my shoulder. It's like,
Is it paying off though? Do you feel
for
like it's paying
sure.
off?
Yeah.
Okay.
My shoulder is stronger than I think it has been in probably a good year and a half ever since I did it. And, like in toe to bar, hands to push-ups, and learning like doing snatching again and not having that pain, not like the throbbing of my pec, my bicep tendon. So it's getting there for sure. The Open will be challenging, but I mean, whatever. It is what it is, you know? It's kind of like I'm willing to suffer and shit like that, and it's like riding a bike. I mean, I've done a lot of that stuff, so it's only been a couple months
Riding
of
a
laying
bike,
off. And,
you've done a lot of that.
well, it's like riding a bike. I mean,
So come ride
yeah, I
back.
didn't do toe to bar for 3 months. And my first workout back, I did 7 rounds of 15 cows on bike, 15 toe to bar. Did my broken. Yeah, it fucked me up a little bit, but I was all right. It was fine. I was like, and it's just
Yeah,
good to
I
know.
died,
It's like,
but-
who cares? Like, you know, your mind's pretty tough, and if you want to go there, you can. So, and I'm fine with that, and I'm cool with the Open, so it'll be good.
Plus, you've been doing a lot of hot yoga, so that's like
Yeah, well,
really?
it's kind of stopped now. I did it a lot right when I had surgery because I was just going crazy. I had to do some stuff. But no, I've been lucky to be able to do a lot of like raw conditioning still.
Yeah.
So conditioning wise, I feel great. It'll just be a couple things here and there, but whatever, everyone has them. So
Kenzie, what about you?
I'm superhuman.
Why don't
I
you just
have
pull
no
that mic right to your face? We're going to talk to you for a minute here. There you go. Pull it right in.
joy.
Lean back.
What does that mean?
There.
See?
You want me to make out with it? What do you
don't
want?
make this. You're like, so God.
Yeah.
Just,
Why do you make me sound so
Just-
stupid when you imitate me? I don't sound like that. It pisses me
wow.
off. So
Somebody's sensitive. Let's talk to Kenzie now. Let's get into some stuff. How's the year been going?
perfect. Great.
Perfect.
Wonderful.
A word you've never used to describe anything that you've done.
You're right.
Ever.
you
And-
crush Waterpalooza.
Yeah.
That was
For
good.
sure.
It was a good weekend. It was a good time. No, things are good. I mean, normal, like par for the course, I would say. I mean, there's worse days than others. Training, train hard regardless. Some days you feel good, some days you don't. Still show up, still train. Fuck shit up as much as you can when you compete.
That sounds way too like.
I don't know. I mean,
All right.
I don't think there's any outstanding reports.
Really? You don't think you've made outstanding progress for yourself from let's think last year at the Open.
I didn't go to Iceland or anything. I'm saying I don't have any like major updates in my life. I'm just still
All
training,
right, but
training
let's
regularly.
talk about a year in Kenzie's training.
Sure.
Think back to last year in the Open
Mhm.
and the things you were worried about coming up, not necessarily in the Open, but just like at regionals or beyond. And now fast forward to this year. Are they the same things that you worry about? Or are there other things? Or do you feel like you've accomplished a lot in the year tackling the things that you consider to be weaknesses?
I'm definitely fitter than I was this time last year.
Well, goodness gracious, I would freaking hope so.
Hey, I'm more confident in a lot of things. I think weakness or less natural abilities are going to remain that way, but that doesn't mean they're not stronger. So I think like my strong suits are still my strong suits, but I've definitely strengthened some of my weaker areas, and I feel a lot more confident in
that's the key.
my abilities. I mean, you gain some confidence. That doesn't mean that you're not still a little bit kind of, I don't say insecure or worried, but like there's always room to doubt yourself, but more confident overall.
I think it's easier in a lot of ways to doubt yourself than to have confidence, because then you're not accepting responsibility for how good you are.
That sounds like something that might be applicable.
I don't know. Let me look back at my text to find out.
It's really easy to like, I have this, working with people like this over the course of my whole life, because in sports there was always those people that were super gifted but were terrified of, like, because of the politics of like high school and middle school, like someone saying that they didn't do well, that they always had that like, I'm not that good, because if things went wrong, then they were able to say, I told you I didn't care that much. Like, it's the amount of change I think that you can make once you accept responsibility for how good you are. I think that's a massive stepping stone for people who go from, trying to make it to the games to making it to the games, and then what? Like, right. Yes, you made it last year, but as I can see so far this year, you're not done at all. You're not like, oh, I got there, that's good. Like, right.
I don't think you can never feel that sort of confidence where you're like, oh, I'm great, I don't have to really care, I don't have to try, it's just gonna happen.
No, I mean confidence in terms of like, you know what, I did work my ass off all year and I am going to do well this year.
Right.
Like, that kind of confidence. No, the other kind of confidence where someone's like boastful, that's actually the opposite of confidence. That's just like, oh, I'm gonna throw that out there so people think that I'm confident, and then I'll go cry in my room.
That's my game. That's what I do. I try to get people to break down by saying how good I'm going to do at something, and then if it doesn't work, then I lose every time. So, but the biggest thing with you is when we all started working together, you were unwilling to change a lot of things that you did a certain way, because you said, this is the way I can already do this. I can do this. I'm good at this. I can handle that.
Exhibit yesterday.
Yeah. And now small suggestions of just do it this way. And I'm not interested in your questions as to why anymore, because we've been down that road. And then you're capable of doing them because you know you can already do it another way, and now you're willing to try something else and step out. And every time you do that, you go, oh yeah, I guess it wasn't that hard. Well, no shit. So but you're willing to take those steps now because you've accomplished so much in the past year. Now you have all these things, they're coming back around. It's not new. The things you're training this year aren't new, right? It's the same movement, same sport, just in a different combination of whatever.
Yes.
So now you get to take the things that you want to work on and work on very specific details that would be insignificant to others because they have nowhere near the ability and capacity you have. But those details now can take you to a whole nother level. And now that you're willing to do those things, I mean, I think you're going to just annihilate this year from what I've seen.
What are we going to do?
We're going to win the region. We're going to win your region for sure. I don't care who hears this. You're going to win the region this year. We're going to make sure of that. So there's the goal.
So that's my update.
It's not qualifying for the games. Now it's going to win. We're going to win the region.
All right.
Whether you like it or not.
What's your opinion on that? Are you going to win the region?
Oh, that's so much pressure.
I'll get her there.
We did this to you last year.
Can I take a pass on this
and
question?
You said yes. Did you win?
I think.
Okay, keep going. All right.
I will. I should start saying yes and believing it instead of saying. It's not that it's definitely a possibility.
Of course it is.
I believe that's more of a possibility than I would ever believe. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm at least willing to like acknowledge that that's possible.
Okay.
Which is a step for me.
Yeah, it is. It's a huge step.
But I'm not going to pretend like it's the only option, and like I'm realistic as well to know that it's not like it's
not going to be easy.
Right.
But why would we give you something that's going to be easy? You got to work
baby
for
steps.
something. You already got to the, I'm bored with you getting to the games now. You already got to the games. I'm bored with that.
But you never know. You never know.
About what?
You never know what's going to happen.
Short of an injury, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Well, then tell me why.
Yeah, but what the hell does regionals mean?
What do you mean?
Like what?
You mean compared to the games?
What placing at regionals? Why does it matter?
it's a matter of stepping out. Yeah, it's a confidence. It's
I mean,
a matter of
sure,
stepping
it's a
out and
confidence
putting on a
thing,
show.
but-
So it's being able to perform when they ask you to perform.
No, I get that, but I
First or
mean,
fifth doesn't matter as far as the games goes, but it matters as far as how you put yourself out there. Yeah.
You set yourself up.
for sure.
Makes
But I mean,
sense.
I feel like if you're qualifying for the games, you're still performing on some type of level that you should
Of course.
be happy with.
Oh,
for sure.
it's-
Yeah.
We're talking about the less than 1% now. The
Yeah.
people that like I said, short of an injury, I don't see anything that could stop her from qualifying for the games.
Yeah,
It's
no,
not
I get
even a
it. It's
question.
like you want to go into the highest stage with like good confidence, whatnot, for sure.
You
Yeah,
gotta
I mean, I get that.
you gotta give her something to keep working for because she can coast the rest of the year if she really wanted to and still be fine. That's not okay.
See, I don't believe that.
Well,
but I
that's
did.
good that
But
you-
last
that's good that
year,
you don't. But
last year I did say, whenever you asked me this, I said to me, first and fifth are this like kind of the same attitude.
Right.
Like qualifying is qualifying. Fifth is as good as first. And you're like, nope, you're going to be this, and you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, which I'm not sure that was executed to what you thought was going to happen, but it was close.
pretty good.
But either way, like I had the mentality of like I didn't care as long as I went to the games. So
Right.
like I could see where coming in with like a different mindset might set you up to, I don't know, like
For success.
I have a different
for sure.
mindset this year definitely than that. I mean, I'll
Well,
take.
last year we knew you belonged and you knew you belonged, but you still wanted to prove it to yourself that you belonged, and
Yes.
you did quite well and proved to yourself, and then you did quite well at the games.
Yeah.
I mean, you did
Yeah.
for a rookie, right? Right away, and you stepped right in and you did well. And now this year, the growth you've made since last year to now is really obvious. Yeah. And
I will say that.
yeah, and you know it. So now that third place is, that's great. That's nice to be third in a region. Like, that's amazing. Everyone would love to be able to do that, right? But that's not enough for you anymore. Or it shouldn't be enough for you anymore.
We're working on that part. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that's all.
But yeah, no, I feel fitter. So that's good. I
Okay.
feel great about that.
You're definitely.
And Wadapalooza was good, and that was compared to like when we went to Montreal. I feel like I was significantly different from that competition that weekend to my Wadapalooza weekend.
Yeah.
I felt like I don't know what it was, but like
To me, watching you at both, it just seemed like you were really willing to put yourself out there at Wadapalooza.
Yeah.
There was no question about what you were going to do. You were able to execute one at a time over and over.
I don't know what the difference was, but I was an entirely different competitor one weekend to the next in my attitude and my confidence and just being able to just be like, yeah, I'll tough it out. I'll do this. I'll do this.
You seem to be a rise to the occasion sort of athlete.
Not everybody, but I've had a couple people tell me that.
You seem to be that, and I don't know who's going to listen to this podcast. 3 or 4 people, and I don't think they're involved with the competition in Montreal. And the occasion there, the overall feeling was different. The energy in the warm-up area, the energy out on the floor. So I feel like with you going to Wadapalooza, the lights turn on. You've played sports your whole life. You have this ability to match the intensity of where you're at. And I would say, like, body language wise, because we watched you guys. I had to fill in for Austin as the barista, and we watched you guys on the Flow Elite, and you looked like you had a different body language.
Yeah, I don't know.
And I feel like a lot of that is rising to the occasion. Like, as regionals, same thing. We watched you in the hotel in the West last year on the TV, and as the heat got turned up, you seemed more and more like at home.
Yeah.
The only time I was mad at you
good.
was during your air squats at the very beginning.
Dude, air squats are stupid.
So that's the only time though.
The easiest fucking movement.
As the heat gets turned up, as the lights are on, which is what you want out of a competitor.
Yeah, no, that's
because we've
definitely
worked
better
with
than the opposite.
We've worked with plenty of the opposite, right, Seth? Like the people who just slay the gym and they don't cheat reps. They are physical freaks within the confines of those black rubber mats. You take them outside of that.
It's crazy.
They're missing a gear. It's just they can't shift into competition mode. They're just stuck.
And the funny thing is, even their mode in the gym would do way better. That mode would take them places you can't even imagine. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the lights turn on and you can't perform. It just does not matter. Unfortunately.
I mean,
or fortunately.
I'm excited. Yeah, like that was that. I'm glad that that experience and that weekend went the way that it did, because it's definitely helpful going forward and as a human growing. Anyways.
You're ready to pass that mic, aren't you?
I don't want it. Here, Drew.
Oh.
You could have 2.
I can have 2.
Yeah. Hey.
Chyna, how?
Caps or no caps? I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
I'm sorry to Ted.
Yeah,
Sorry,
hopefully
Ted.
Ted's ears are okay.
I pulled it, but I didn't read the polls yet.
Was that caps?
That was caps.
Okay, just checking.
My bad.
We're gonna switch from caps now.
Okay.
Bill Ellis would appreciate that. He loves loud yelling into microphones.
So this is your first full Misfit off season, because last year it was.
I cherry picked.
She wasn't even here yet.
What's bitch work? No, I was doing it in August. I just didn't do bitch work, and I didn't do the strength.
That's what's funny about. I don't want to like answer the questions for you.
You can.
But that's what I've noticed immediately is the change in the machines, and then the change in not just your strength work, because your strength work, you said, without going to, this is actually an opportunity to give away some programming secrets.
No.
I'm taking over the programming, Seth, after my 6 donuts.
You don't get to a 20 rep max by doing 20 rep maxes. 20 rep max is a test of how strong you are. So if you do 3s and 4s and 5s and things of that nature, and then you PR your 20 rep max by 25 pounds.
More than that, 35.
35 pounds, and you did
no belt either.
And you did over 20 reps.
To 21.
So
yeah, no
Seriously.
belt. So
it's good for
I'm
me.
just going to throw
It's
that
really
out there.
good.
But like yesterday with like the wall balls, like your squat mechanics are
way better. Yeah.
way better. Like a lot of stuff has changed. So with the bitch work and with the strength being added to your already, you had like your zone is the mech, like the traditional CrossFit Metcon type stuff.
Yeah.
That's something that you're comfortable with. You've been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. Definitely doing it a long time.
What do you feel like has changed?
Definitely the confidence on the machine things. The more you do them, obviously, the better you get at them, and they don't get any less painful, but at least you know what to expect. So that's definitely changed. The volume, like when I started Misfit, is very different. It's definitely a little less than what I'm used to, but my intensity is 10,000 times higher than it ever was. So I feel like before I did a lot of things, but my intensity was at like 70% because, oh God, I got to get through 8 more things. So I obviously got to pace myself throughout it versus, okay, you get 3 things, do them the best that you fucking can and make the most out of it. And I feel less broken down even being 8.5 years into this sport than I ever have, and being 31 and you know what I mean? All those things, which is insane to me. So you guys are doing pretty good, even though I hate you most of the time.
I'm
okay
hated
with that.
worldwide. So
Definitely.
that's okay.
Definitely.
That's okay.
When I thought I had rhabdo like 3 times the last 2 weeks.
But did you? No.
Maybe. I checked my pee like 3 times. It was bad. I was like, oh my gosh, it's going to be brown.
Programming's so good, you have to check the color of your pee.
Yeah.
New tagline.
Been there. Bringing movements back in, man.
Oh.
I first met at Total Bar, like my abs, my chest was so tight from kipping. Oh, it was terrible. I couldn't laugh. I couldn't sneeze. I couldn't cough. I'm like,
I've been there after like
what
20
yeah.
GHDs.
Yo,
Right?
terrible.
That's where
It was
Kenzie's
unreal.
right now.
Yeah, that's unreal. It was just unreal.
Oh, man.
So I got a question for you. So now
Yeah.
that you're doing less, but you're going into each piece with more focus and intensity, does it help prepare you better for competition when you are maybe experiencing things like breakdowns in certain places because you either come out too hot or not enough, or you go too big of a set, or I mean the scenarios go on and on, but does going all in for less pieces prepare you better for competition?
Absolutely.
Because you can then use that experience?
Absolutely. Because you have to go all in competition. Obviously, you don't pace yourself like
Well, you do somewhat,
You
right?
do a little bit, but you take it one workout at a time.
Right.
Versus like, and when you only have 3 to 4 things, you can take it one workout at a time. Versus when you have 8 to 10 things. I'm sorry, all I think about is what is the 8th, 9th, and 10th
Right.
thing that I still have to do in this like 5-hour time frame. You know what I mean? I obviously can't be dead by the time that
Right.
comes. Yes.
Are you more
definitely.
willing to take chances during the training?
Absolutely. And I was never like that. But the fact that like Drew gives a focus, or you guys on the podcast give a focus, like do something that you wouldn't necessarily do in competition,
Right.
so that you have the experience of going for broke and almost dying. That's obviously not a good way to go, but at least you know what your breaking point is.
Exactly.
And you never would know that, Mekenzie, if you always stop at 15 feet on a handstand walk. You have to know when you're going to fall on your face or when you're about to fall on it. You know what I mean? So
yes.
I mean, and obviously training is the time to do it. So the fact that like you guys give the focus and we don't have to think about 5 million things, it definitely helps. 100%.
Now I'm going to drop the hammer. Are you ready?
No, don't fucking drop it.
I'm
Seth.
dropping the hammer.
No.
The West has changed.
Fuck you, Seth.
It
I
sure
know.
has.
And I already have so much anxiety. I'm like 5 weeks of anxiety.
Anxiety is not necessarily a bad thing. It's how you handle it and deal with it, because the fact that you're processing this
It means you give a shit.
Yeah.
That's what anxiety
It's not a
is.
bad thing. So
If you didn't care, we'd be
How-
like, what the fuck's wrong?
you don't have to talk about yourself. How does this impact both the guys and the girls?
Okay,
over
honestly,
there?
I don't even know. I just know that there's less spots in the open.
Correct.
I don't even know. Like, I just know that it's a lot less. And I know that going to the games, if you make it to regionals, it goes from 10 spots to 5. And that freaks me the fuck out. Just being honest.
Well, this is like
Yeah,
this
what
is
place
like
did you finish at regionals?
And the
Oh.
open. And the
Oh.
open.
first
in
and first.
one.
Oh,
Okay,
in
yeah.
one region.
Very scary.
No. So you have that anxiety, and again, you will have that anxiety because you care so much about what you do.
I just got like 5 gray hairs thinking about it. Thanks.
Seth
You're
and I have the I don't know.
Flip phone for what?
Seth is not a flip phone.
I don't know how to flip phone.
I have a flip phone, an iPhone, and 2 iPads. So we have the ability to sit in an office and think about it from the numbers standpoint. And you look at it, and I get a text immediately from Sam, who actually might have, with the math, beat Brent Fikowski if it was mixed together. So he would have moved up. And then I get a text from Chyna, and there was one person out of all of the regions who had scores close to hers. So
It's a new year. That's what you got to think. You can't look at that.
well,
past.
but that's
you.
okay. So,
Always
but that's
different.
what
Lucky you.
that's the next part.
Yeah.
Is we started working together last year, right at the beginning of the Open.
Yeah.
You are significantly better this year than you were last year at this time.
And I have all you lovely people. That definitely helps.
No, but that's
No, I'm serious.
so
Maybe not
that-
you because you're a jerk half the
That's
time.
it. That's it. Let me finish,
You
and then
know,
that's
in
actually
battle, you want me around.
Truth.
that's a very good segue. But let me finish. If you would have gone first, and then you got better. I mean, can we leave it at that? Right. That's math. That's whatever. And you should feel the way that you do. You should. If you don't, then I personally think you don't care or you're lying to yourself. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I mean, the two things that I pride myself on when it comes to Misfit is the two things that you just said. You talked about prioritizing intensity, the fact that we like take the whole year to try to get to this point, and then you said, and I have you guys. Those two things, like that community feel, I think it's
great.
that's our thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Definitely.
and the funny thing is you might not be able to see it from the outside because we don't put it on blast all the time, but it's very real.
Yeah.
Like we have a very strong connection with when we go to training camps, with the people that are there, with all three of you.
I was sold in one day.
Sitting
I
at
mean,
this table, like
Yeah,
that
I
kind of
mean,
thing. That changes things.
After I had
When
the
you
chance,
have like a team, a family.
after I had the chance to qualify, you guys were asking me like, well, which regions do you want to go to? Like that was so cool for me to get like a chance to go and support other people that are on the team. Like that's just
Cody went to mine.
I went to
And Kenzie's.
Yeah, I got to go to like quite a few, and it was just such a cool experience to be there, to help them if they needed it.
to be my designated driver.
Yeah, to
Yep.
be your designated driver.
Visit all the
just-
sunny places.
Yeah, this is all the
To
sunny
watch me
places.
fall off a
like-
curb. All the things.
Yes, that was amazing.
So awesome.
Just acted like
Ted
it
was
wasn't
there.
even there, and just went down.
Face plant.
So funny. But no, it was cool. I mean,
I
and
waited
it's
to
like,
laugh. I still want.
You're such a jerk.
It's cool that you guys support it too. Like you
Yeah,
want that.
100%.
You know what I mean? You're not like, no, you're not gonna go to someone else's region, this and that. Like, you're not gonna pay for that.
Not even
blah,
that.
blah, blah.
They go to the regions.
Like,
Like,
yeah.
seriously, I've never had someone go to a regional like the way that you guys go, like full force, like Ted, Jen, Drew from Maine. You know what I mean? For me, like
I get to
come
go
on.
to all three. I get to go to all three
Yeah.
this year, which I'm really excited about. Like I still haven't. I've given up on the
don't even know
South.
what week I am.
I know the South is like our biggest area, but it's always during the East. So it is what it is. But actually being able to do
I'll be there.
your region as well. Yeah, that's definitely the East and the South, two biggest regions. It's like our divide and conquer time. But I get to go to these three regions.
You know
which
what's
I'm
crazy
pumped
too is
about.
athletes have started following the blog that are already at regionals, just because they see what we're doing behind the scenes. Like, there's, you know, a group of us talking, making game plans, everything, you know, warming people up, flossing their shoulders for them, giving them warm-ups, you know, sending them out on the floor like, this is how we're going to do it. Okay, there's other coaches back there, but there's nowhere near the same feel. And people all want to congregate to us and be like, well, I mean, we've had messages from people like, I saw the way you treat your athletes. I would kill to have a coach do that for me. Can I join in? It's like, fucking, of course you can. Like, join in.
The amount of people that we end up talking to at regionals, they like slowly like slide their way over and end up talking to you at regionals is crazy.
Happens every year, and we're happy to help everybody. I mean, but obviously we can help the people we work with year round the most because we know exactly how to set something up for them. But anyway, it's just funny how that works. Yeah. Wow. Cool. I think we covered a lot. Ted, how long have we been going for here?
45 minutes.
I need like
for
carbs again.
That guy that's still with us. I really appreciate you sticking around the whole time.
We gotta talk to Cody, and this is a full disclaimer here. I am aware that I eat a certain way as a person, but people think that I want them to eat that way, and I don't ask them to eat that way.
I tried.
Wait, how do we get into this?
Because Cody is not by my recommendation, by somebody else's recommendation.
The doctor guy.
Yeah, I got blood work done and whatnot.
Ketogenic CrossFit athlete.
He eats like 4 carbs, and he just ate them.
No, I probably eat less than 50 a day. I mean, majority of them come from vegetables. I eat,
which is insoluble fiber, which is not.
I eat like so I eat like every day. I end up eating a perfect bar. I don't know how it happens. It just happens. I'm at the gym, whatever.
Magic.
And then when I go home, it's the only other carbs I'm really getting are from vegetables. And then I make a smoothie with like a 4th cup of frozen blueberries every day. So that has in it. And it's not a lot, but I feel great. I mean, I've messed around my diet quite a bit, and it's I feel great on this. I'm still
from like a scientific standpoint, what's at play, like the good versus the bad here is like inflammation would be much lower.
Yeah.
So in terms of injury and things of that nature, but then science tells us that it's not possible to row or bike the way that you do or run the way that you do and then come back the next day and do it again. So you're
without the carbs, you're saying?
Without the carbs. What you're doing right now, there's probably, I don't know, a dozen doctors that if they were listening to this would be like, get him into my lab right now.
Probably.
Like what is happening inside of his body? Because they'll do the mask and you're actually exhaling, whether you're exhaling ketones or the byproduct of glycolysis. Like they can tell, are you using fat or carbs as fuel? What's your VO2 max? All that stuff. And they would essentially say that you don't exist.
You think his body now pushes him through the pathways faster into an aerobic system? You think he gets aerobic much faster than somebody else because he's not, I know he's burning ketones, but he's not, and using fat probably better than most, but he's not really going to be able to maintain that as long as someone who would have the sugar. So would he go to oxygen faster?
Well, it doesn't. It's sort of like the thing we always talk about at training camp where Kalipo went to Harvard and they said, you're not a human being. You don't exist.
Because he can do things in pathways that don't make any sense.
He's staying in a pathway. Yeah. Body composition.
No. But honestly, like
it looks like it's a little bit lower, I would say.
It was crazy because I really started this like when I had my surgery. The doctor that I'm working with
right after Kwai.
Yeah, was like, he's like, I think this would be great inflammation wise, like with your recovery, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, cool, let's do it. And like, I was able to maintain like pretty lean throughout that. And I wasn't working out much at all. And it was cool. And then when I started working out again, I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to feel. And I was like, kept feeling really good. Energy level was up, like biking, rowing. So, I mean, I told you I did those rows yesterday. And
I thought I was going to pass out and
die. I wake up, I have couple slices of bacon, eggs, avocado, and I'm good. You know, I'm not like starving for food. I'm not having to do all these crazy drinks. Like I'm not like I don't drink a protein shake.
Makes sense that you're not starving.
Yeah,
I mean your blood sugar's in control.
Yeah, so like I'm not starving. I'm not. I don't.
All of it makes sense to me, other than what I've read on the harder intervals. That would be the time where, because essentially you can go really fast and pretty slow to really slow, but there's just that like really hard for 2 to 3 minutes, that range is not supposed to be there for
Right.
you.
So, but is it there?
He says it is.
Yeah, I mean, I feel it's
What does
there.
he know?
I mean-
He's like
I mean,
12.
Yes. Okay, you can. I mean, okay, put it this way. You can say
He still crushes everybody on the bike in the row. Or I've watched that.
5 minutes is a little longer than 3 minutes. But I mean, yesterday.
No, 5 minutes would
Go in
is
that range.
supposed to crush.
Okay,
your-
so put it this way. I rode yesterday. I rode 1,500 meters times 4 with a 60-second rest. My first one was 5:05. My second one was 5:09.
What's
My
your
second
pacing?
one was 5:09, and my
for
last
anybody that
one
wouldn't know what a
was
1500.
5:05. That's
What's
like
the
a
pace?
140 to a 142, and I pulled, and that's a
Can you do that
60-second
for
rest. So I mean, that those
So that's
were
a maintainable
I could
pace for
have.
you.
That's maintainable. I could have easily put. You could have said, "Let's row 4 2Ks with 60-second rest," and I would have done them all under 7 minutes without really, So it's there. I felt good. I
It's
wasn't
interesting.
Struggling.
Yeah.
I wasn't like dead after.
It would be interesting to do a lot more
It's cool.
testing on that.
Yeah, it'd be cool, and it'd be cool for me to even know more because there's definitely things I do struggle with. I'm not saying like I'm superhuman at all. There's like
Oh, you pretty much
building
are, though.
strength is very hard for me. I don't know, but I feel a lot better than I did this way. My joints don't really hurt that much.
You're 12.
Okay, no, but
His joints did hurt prior. I think
Yes,
is sort of what
like,
he's
I mean,
putting out there.
yeah, like achy, like kind of waking up, like just achy, just
So the way I feel
inflammation
right now.
wise.
It's called
Yeah.
30.
Yeah, 131.
It's interesting
These
stuff.
old broads
for
over
sure.
here are really jealous of you right now.
It's interesting stuff for sure. At times it does get hard because like when you want to snack, what do you want to snack? You want to eat like carbs. You want to eat, and my roommates, Nate, love you, man. But when he's like pounding ice cream and shit, I'm like, damn, it's tough. But I don't know. And honestly, everyone's like, you gotta care about how I look. I don't give a shit about how I look, and I want to perform to my best. And I think that this is gonna help.
That's
me do that.
actually one thing that I think is important with the CrossFit being such a social media driven sport. You know what I mean? Just how you put yourself out there, because you guys have to market yourself, or how are you going to make this like a profession?
Yeah.
It's still in its infancy in terms of how you get paid, who pays you. And women even more than men, but men still a really low body fat percentage
your body.
is not good at all.
No.
Like you listen to the bodybuilders that do the thing where they do like the dandelion root and all that stuff to like pull all the stuff out of their body. Like technically it's essentially getting all liquid, everything out of your body, everything. And then right before they go on stage, they do a bunch of carbs to
Yep.
pump up the
And
glycogen,
sodium.
so they're all jacked looking. But
That's what we gotta do.
they look that way and report back that they feel terrible, like they couldn't even train that way. But there are so many people chasing that. They're thinking that look, that body style, that super low body fat
what you need.
is what is the goal, because a lot of top athletes look that way, but performance-wise, that's not correct.
I mean, I think if people
it's not correct
took
at
a
all.
hard
It's not
look
even close.
at fighters and boxers who need insane conditioning, they do not train at the super lean weights. They actually the best carry more weight, and they have to cut, and they have this down to a science, which is very difficult on them to cut weight before a fight. And then they work as hard as they can to add it back on and get back to homeostasis or whatever before they're fighting. The people that can't do that effectively are the ones that have no energy for the fight and lose. It's a whole nother battle within the game.
This is why I will never play a weight class sport. I don't want to have to worry about that. I just want to perform, like do what I need to do to feel good and perform well, and not worry about having to weigh a certain weight. Like I have no interest in that. Sorry, weightlifting. I'm not going to do it ever.
Good for you.
And just another big thing for me is just quality of food. I mean, we ask a ton. I wake up every day, go to the gym, and ask so much of my body. I want to do this. I want to do that. I got this piece. Like,
Yeah.
it's a lot. And if I'm just putting like,
Well, again, I mean,
shit
that
food in.
style of eating from almost every standpoint makes a lot of sense.
I literally, it ends up being like meats, vegetables, nuts, seeds, stuff like that.
Little starch, no sugar.
Yeah.
I'm just
Wow.
Oh, wow, I've heard that before. But no, like, and it's just what it is, stuff that doesn't have a shelf life.
Yeah. So I'm not. I didn't want to bring it up to say you guys should be doing this. I just find it extremely interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
Well, you didn't eat what he's doing would be even harder.
I know. I still ate 3 perfect bars.
I'll tell you
because
what,
said he ate
though.
a lot of fat. I don't think that was right.
well,
That is a lot
The
of
best
fat,
was
though.
Caroline would just tell on you all day.
know.
I just checked her
Fucking
story.
Caroline.
She's not doing it right. I'm like, I don't know what you want me to do. I
I'll-
can't call her.
I'll tell you what, though, the transformation, that 2.5 weeks, like, I almost didn't make it. when I went from.
Oh, you did like
It's a tough time.
I
Yeah.
went from eating quite a bit of carbs, like when I was training for the games, to like, let's cut this out. And I was like withdrawal, like crazy. Every day I was texting my doctor after a week because I'm like, I can't do it. I'm like, it's just not going to work. Every day at 11 o'clock, migraine. Every day, 11 o'clock, boom. I'd have this pounding migraine. I'm like, dude, when's this going to stop? Because I'm done. And he's like, you just got to keep fighting it. And like 2.5 weeks stopped. And then after that, I felt great. But it was definitely tough. But it's interesting. It's cool to know all about stuff about your body. You know what I mean? So it's fun.
And you've got guy versus girl at play, and then
For sure.
one of the biggest things that they're finding is if your heritage is from a different place, you're supposed to try to match your diet from
Yeah.
where you're
Native
from.
American
some of
diet.
rice.
Yeah.
So if you're
You need rice.
Yep.
Gotta have
I
it.
didn't do it. That was Kenzie.
there's actually a lot of research on like matching your diet to where
Ancestry.
to your ancestry,
Yeah,
because that's what your
that's-
body knows how to process.
That's why it's so cool. Like I was able to work with this company and get like tests done.
And you know those Native Americans weren't eating a lot of
I'm
rice.
English. I gotta have crisps
Corn.
and
Croissants.
bangers. Or wait, that's Scottish. I don't know.
You know, it's-
fried fish. I'm on it.
I think your ancestors
In
were
it.
frying fish.
Oh, some of them
Yeah.
were.
I mean, it's cool to know that stuff, and it's cool to get tests done and be like, well, I'm not just gonna guess. I'm gonna actually know some shit because
Yeah.
I wanna, I wanna perform at a crazy level. You gotta know it.
I have a question, Cody.
Yeah.
Did you
Don't
used to have-
whisper.
did you used to have an earring?
Yeah, I had both my ears.
Can we
pierced.
bring it back?
I
That would
think
be
we
dope.
can. Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I think we can still get. I went down and visited my sister in college when I was a sophomore in high school. We pierced both my ears there.
You just did it
with,
to piss your dad off, didn't
With
you?
a needle and an apple.
Potato.
with an ice cube and
Yeah,
a needle.
yeah,
Yes. And then I got back like 2 weeks later in football season. Couldn't deal with it. My helmet. My coaches were giving me shit. My helmet was just bothering him, so I took him out. And then actually, I put the back on so hard that my ear healed around it. So my dad got a kick out of this because he was always giving me shit about it. So one day I was like, all right, Dad, I want this earring off. But my ear healed around the back part. He had to cut the back of my ear and pull it out with his knife. So he was like laughing about the whole time. But then they never closed up. So I can still, sometimes like people think it's funny. And
So
We could re-pierce it.
Get
with
a
ice
nose
cube
ring,
from
Cody.
outside.
yeah.
Get a nose ring.
Nah.
So
Come
I,
on,
I
goes.
have
Little
a
one.
follow-up question. So this is off topic entirely. What were you before you CrossFitted? Like, what were you like before you CrossFitted? Like, what were you into? Like, were you different? Were you had two earrings? So I just want to know like
No,
what
I
you were
mean,
like
I was,
before I
like-
knew
In
you.
high school,
I was-
last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean,
basically.
the earrings didn't come from like I wasn't like anything like crazy. That was just doing something different. Like I've always been like my mom always since I was a kid like be a leader, not a follower. So I was just always trying different shit, see what happened. But I was in sports my whole life.
Were you like a polo shirt collar popped, or were you like
No.
like skater boy? Like what was
No.
your
Oh yeah, I
style? What were
definitely
you?
I skated.
He used to
for
wear
a
the dirty
while.
ghetto kids shirts.
Oh yeah,
and-
GGK all
yeah.
day. Yeah, for sure. And I mean, I snowboarded a ton. So there's a lot of that stuff.
Okay, so you're
There's
you're
a lot of snow here
okay.
for you to do that.
Yeah,
so.
exactly.
But
no.
when he was 15, he looked like he was 12. He just had that baby.
Yeah.
And now he looks like he's
when I-
15.
baby
when
face.
I
He
still
has it,
shaved my
but
face
oh
completely,
my
it's-
God, his high school
Shaved.
pictures, he looks like a little child. He's such a baby face.
Was.
But he's big. But he's
Yeah.
always big. But he's got the face is just.
Hearing people's lives before they're like serious athlete, I'm always just like super interested in
You want to know
people's
about my life
previous
where I was
lives.
a serious athlete? It's still going on. I'll give you an update.
It's a funny one.
Thanks.
Anyways, I just had to ask that.
All
Sorry.
right. Do you guys want to go train?
Yeah.
I think we should wrap this up. Yeah.
I'm not sure about that answer.
Yeah.
Stop
4
sitting.
donuts.
They're all done.
Front
We're
squats.
Taking
Front
over the
squats.
program.
done. Okay. That's
All right.
it.
That's all
Until
I got.
next time, guys. Thanks for tuning in for the hour and whatever that was. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. I hope you got a kick out of the mix of topics
It's
this
fun.
time. So we'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.